Three. What's up, everyone? Sorry for that. I'm stupid, apparently. Three, two, one. What is up, everybody? We are back. It is January 2025, and we are here with the first live hot takes of the year. Feels good to be back. My name is Matt, founder MIR97. Just had to say it. And I'm super stoked to be with you guys here. We got an incredible 29 people in chat and probably a couple more hundred listening over on Spotify, Apple, Google. And today I have the pleasure to be joined with three lovely people who are going to be leading this charge. Number one, my co-host, John. John, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Oh, man, we're chilling. I mean, I can't speak for the other two lovely people, including Joe Titman. Joe, what's
Oh,
cracking?
it's so good to be back. It's back 30, baby. The fire are coming, and it's gonna be epic.
That is classic Joe Titman. He probably had a glass of whiskey before this, knowing him. Wait, do you have one in your hand right now? Yeah, he's grabbing one. Oh, he's got a whole fifth, if you can't see that. Rock on. And finally, of course, rounding out the quadruple, not the trio, is Chicago Fire's favorite Scotsman, Chi-Town Paul McCann. How you doing, buddy?
I'm very well. How are you?
Oh, man. Super stoked to be here. It's been a while since all four of us have been on a recording session together, but I'm really great to be here. And I'm really great to see 30 people in the chat. That makes me very, very happy. What we're going to do in a couple minutes is I'm going to pass it over to John, but I just want to let you guys know that we have not solidified what our schedule for hot takes is going to be. Could be monthly, it could be bi-monthly. We know we want to do some other things under the hot takes umbrella, like watch-alongs and other cool events for you guys, because let's be real, I'm pretty sure you guys like hearing us yap. I like hearing us yap. It's a good time, but we're not there yet on the schedule. So just follow Men in Red 97 pods and our regular account for information on when hot takes is going to be recorded in the future. That being said, let's get into the meat and potatoes, or as John likes to call it, the peanut butter and jelly. There's been a lot that's been going on the last 2 months. And let's very quickly, John's shaking his head. He doesn't like that. He's allergic to peanut butter. There's a lot that's been going on in the Fireland. And to give you a very quick Spark Note version, in case you live under a rock, we signed Jonathan Bamba. We signed Philip Zinkernagel. We were linked with Neymar. We signed a bunch of other cool players like Jack Elliott and Kouame from Cadiz. And, we had some guys leave like Salquist and Fetty and Jimenez and Herbers and Aragoni. But we're in a good place. And it's really good to see, really refreshing to see that Triple G's put in the work. So let's talk about it. I'd like right now to pass it over to my colleague and good buddy, John, to start talking about some host takes that we put together.
Yeah, kind of nothing super wild. Well, we'll see how wild it gets, I guess. Just wanted to lock in a few preseason predictions so that at some point, whether that's June or October, we can all point and laugh at how wrong each of us was. Definitely a few in here that are going to be very similar and some that are pretty diametrically opposed. So we have 4 categories on this, right? So first is going to be team-specific predictions. Second is player-specific predictions. We've got what shoes is Greg going to wear to the home opener, and then who the third DP signing would be if you had the pocketbook open. So we're going to start with our team-specific predictions. Matt, you kick us off here. Can you hear me, Matt?
Oh, now I can. Sorry. Did you ask me about my takes? My audio's been cutting out.
Yeah. Yeah, I said your team specific prediction for 2025.
Oh, rock. Thanks, John. Appreciate kicking it off. My prediction is going to be that the Fire can win the Open Cup. And the reason I'm saying that is, in case you didn't know, some of the teams are in Leagues Cup, some of the teams are in Open Cup, and some of them are in both. But the teams that are in Open Cup, in my opinion, are all teams that we could and probably should beat. And that doesn't include the Next Pro teams and, of course, the USL Championship and USL1 teams that are hopping in as well. So I think this is the year, first of 5. There's no Seattle. There's no Sporting KC. This is our chance. That's my take. It's definitely not hot.
Yeah, I think kind of other side of the coin, right? Just to build off Matt's, mine was, and I swear to God, I put this in before he put his in, is the Fire will win the Open Cup. I think this is a team that realistically this year doesn't really have a shot to compete for MLS Cup, barring like a massive move in the summer. I mean, realistically, be a playoff team, maybe win a round or two. But what they can do is win a single elimination tournament. You have a coach who came off 6 years, leading a team who is constantly playing in single elimination tournaments. I like the Fire to win the Open Cup this year, especially as Matt mentioned with a weakened field. I think it's a little bit of a no-brainer in my opinion. Yeah, Paul, Joe, anybody want to hop in here?
Yeah, I'll hop in. I avoided the Open Cup because I'm happy to have it back, but I just don't know where we stand in knockout situations right now. However, I think the Fires make the playoffs and they win a playoff series or game on a penalty shootout. Because I think they have the nature of the league now, it's not, we need to improve that much to make the playoff. And I think they've made the right moves to at least get there. But yeah, I think getting there, I think the Fire have it, and especially with Triple G at the helm, I think he knows how to get over the line in these games and series. So I think he will win a series, we get through to the next round, and then we get our arse handed to us by someone. Several people typing, I like it.
Yeah, I love the very specific win in a shootout, not just win. It's we win in a shootout specifically.
Yeah,
really
I want it to be fun. I want us to have pain because it's always hard and painful with the Fire. So it can't just be, it can't just go out and thrash a team. It's got to be the hardest way possible.
Kind of, Joe, I don't mean to step on your toes a little bit, but do we even know the playoff format yet as we're kind of talking about this? Has that been announced?
I'm assuming it's the same as last year, but I don't actually know anything.
Yeah, that's the problem. Anyway,
my sources say whatever includes the most messy games possible.
It's a round robin, but
well, if we have a Fire, it's going to be messy.
It's a round robin, but instead of playing each other, everybody just plays Miami. That's all it is. All right, Joe, what did you have for the team for the year?
The Fire are going to lead the league in scoring and lead the league in goals against.
Interesting.
As in, though, I think I probably said that wrong. They're going to give up the most goals in Major League Soccer and score the most. It's going to be a great season.
So we're talking like every game is a 4-3 win.
Yep. It's going to be 4. It's going to be 6, 9, 7, 8. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be epic.
It'll be Ange ball.
Are we selling Chris Brady in this reality? Like, what's going on here?
No, it's just everyone around him and being MLS. That's all that's going to happen. No further notes.
Fair enough.
5 whiskeys. He has to be 5 whiskeys in.
At least.
1.5.
At least. Love that. Awesome. We'll keep it moving. Matt, give me your player specific take for the year.
Yeah, 100%. Everyone knows I'm not an incredibly large Guti truther. I like him. I like that he's a Berwyn boy. He's got some talent. We know that, but he hasn't been able to make that jump. My take is I do believe Guti's going to be better, but I don't think he's going to make the skill jump. I just think he's going to produce better because he has better players around him. There's no doubt that having Zinkernagel and Bamba on the left and right is a better option rather than having Marin and Chris Mueller like we did for large parts of the season last year. And as a result, I think he's going to get more assists and he's going to get more goals because those guys are better players. And I don't really think it's going to mean, Guti, took the jump. He's good. Call him up to the senior team. But he's definitely going to produce more. Matt always bringing the logic, the hot takes. Someone's got to do it. But I appreciate it because usually I'm not logical. I'm very emotional. Just wait till we talk about Andrew Gutman.
Matt does this thing where he has like fake logic, so it doesn't actually hold up, but that's fine. Yeah, Matt and I opposite sides of the coin on this one. I actually had Gucci's going to be dropped from the starting 11 by the summer window. Couple reasons. One, he hasn't been good enough. I would love to be wrong about this. I would love for him to have double-digit assists, a couple goals, just have an awesome year. I don't see that happening. And I think with the amount of money invested in the wings, there's a very real possibility that in the summer, Greg goes out, gets another 8, and he's just dropped because we're playing a 4-3-3 instead of a 4-2-3-1, right? Just not going to have room for the 10. There's always talk about the 10 in MLS because it's such like a cost for creativity. Guti is not a creative player. He doesn't have those same juices that some of the best in this league do. So yeah, I don't see it happening here. I hope it does. I would love to be wrong, but I don't see it happening here. All right, cool. No feedback.
John and I
Love that.
very rarely disagree. John and I very rarely disagree, but this is a case where we very rarely agree, but this is a case where we do. I fully back that, John.
Your take was the exact opposite, actually.
Well,
yes, I know. But what's going to happen, Joe, hang on, let me cook right here. What's going to happen is Guti's production is going to go up the first half of the season. Then we're going to bring in a guy like Antoine Griezmann, and he's not going to get dropped because he was bad. He's just going to get dropped because it's fucking Antoine Griezmann. So technically, not the exact opposite, but I hear you nonetheless. Also, everyone will be happy to know that my audio is working. I could hear everything. I'm so fucking locked in. Sorry, back to you, John.
Perfect. Joe, if you want to hop in or if you had something to add there.
Well, I'm just going to use some Matt logic while I'm here. Now I'm holding the microphone now. So I know that I said the Fire are going to give up the most goals. But then somehow my next take was Chris Brady is going to lead the league in clean sheets.
That's my boy. I love it.
Dirty mullet.
Brian Dowd's going to get a few starts and really throw things off.
Yeah, we'll lose 10.
Fuck Notre Dame. That's all I have to say.
Hey, fuck you, buddy. I do like Notre Dame. I don't know why I said that.
All right, Paul. What do you have for player takes for this year?
So yeah, I kind of took my take off the field. So I think of all the team, I think Christopher Mueller is going to buy a Cybertruck this year. If he's not already got one, he takes a jump this year. It's happening. If anyone on this team does it, it's going to be him.
Is that a smart purchase for someone who's unemployed, or like what?
Well, I don't know anybody smart that's bought one.
Fair play.
They are the ugliest car ever, which is exactly why I think Joe would own one.
I want one.
Of course you do, Joe.
Yeah, of course you do. Of course you do, Joe. Makes sense. Your wife in the chat is not happy about that, by the way.
Oh, jeez. No, but I also think that from what I know about Chris Brady, he may have different reasons why he wants a Cybertruck. And I think he would probably wrap it in orange and drive around DC like Alex's gift.
Well, you got to be careful with him in DC. Can't really have him there on certain days.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised he wasn't part of that order where they didn't let people in. But who knows?
Oh my God! All right, before we say anything too bad, we'll keep it moving. Matt, kick us off. What's your prediction for Greg's sneakers in the home opener?
Yeah, this one was funny. I'm not a sneaker junkie. I don't really know. Honestly, I don't really care. I wear white Vans every day or like my Blundstones. So I said a pair of D Roses, and then there's a producer note here that John put in and made sure to let me know before this saying, producer note, D Rose is an Adidas signature athlete, while Greg Berhalter is very famously signed to Nike. So even with John providing that important information, I'm doubling down. He's wearing a pair of fucking D Roses. It's going to be legendary.
Appreciate the commitment to the bit, man.
Yeah,
it's not a bit. It's life, John. It's life.
So we'll wear D Roses when announcing Griezmann with D Rose in the summer. So I think that's what
100%. You already know that's what what that announcement's going to be. It's just going to be a clip of Griezmann coming out in the air saying, "I like Derrick Rose," or "I love Derrick Rose," whatever he says. It's going to be awesome. And Greg's going to be there in his D Rose shoes, looking beautiful as always.
Fellas, we have a whole thing here about who would your DP signing be. None of you put Griezmann in, but you guys keep talking about him. All right? So, like, pick a lane here. Pick a lane. Either you want him or you don't, okay?
It's the old bait and switch, John. It's entertainment. It's showbiz, baby.
All All right. For my sneakers for the home opener, I had kind of overly specific. It's the Jordan 3 Unite. It's all red Jordan 3 with the elephant print, and on the back heel tab it says Shy, CHI. That's a no brainer. Honestly, if he doesn't do it, I'm gonna be super disappointed, and it'll just make me realize his bag is not very deep. Kind of be a fake fan, to be honest, at that point.
It's a solid second option. I think if we win the Open Cup, I think he might do that. But if he does not show up in a pair of Jordan 1, you can go mids or lows, either way. Jordan 1 Bulls, white and red. Then welcome to Chicago.
I feel like he should be
Yeah.
in highs if we're doing ones, to be fair.
Yeah, but he's got to be comfortable walking around in the highs. The mids and the lows are better, and then I think he could really dress up the lows a little bit more with how he goes. So I think we'll be fine. But yours, the Jordan 3 Unites, that's a pretty solid option. Didn't even think of that.
Yeah, that's
well
a
done,
decent.
sir.
Yeah, I went the same as Joe. Well, Joe stole my idea, you bastard. Yeah, I went with the OG. He's got an old pair of Jordan 1s, but he's going to get some Chicago sneaker shop to get the Fire logo on the heels. And they're going to promote that big, that sneaker shop, and it's going to be mid.
Yeah, Sneaker Surgeon X Greg Berhalter on the 2025 drop. That might be the move.
I want some Jordan 1 Sparkies. That's what I want.
Ooh, little like Chicago colorway, but the white is like Dalmatian spotted. That would actually kind of go hard.
Yes.
That would be good.
Love that. All right, maybe the most. So I just in the chat forgot how insufferable the off-field Triple G vibe is. I mean, it's not that bad.
Why would we do a Dalmatian away kit when Sparky's a cow?
Okay, Paul, we're not doing
Sparky's
this.
not a cow, but we're not prepared for this conversation. 100% not.
Look, okay, fellas, we're moving on. We'll start. Matt, you kick us off here if you're still paying attention. Who's your choice for that third designated player role?
Yeah. So I actually didn't really give an answer to this. I just kind of wrote down center mid, and there's a bunch of options for who that could be. But I think if you want Guti to start, which I know Alex does because he was yapping about it in the chat earlier, and I know a lot of you in the chat want it, a lot of you listening want it, then you got to have some support behind him. And although, yeah, you have Kellen, right now you got Kwame, who the fuck knows if he's going to be any good. But you bring in a guy who's really going to be like a enforcer in that midfield. The box-to-box guy is 6. I don't really care as long as it's behind the 10. Mario Lamina is a name that I consistently talk about. Don't know why, but I'm just really into him. And I like Rodrigo De Paul or Zielinski, who I think is still on Napoli, maybe at Roma. I might have made that up. But a guy like that, a guy that will obviously take a significant transfer fee to get here, but is a proven asset not only for their national team, but for a top 5 league in Europe, along with Champions League experience caliber players. Mario Lamina is the only one I think who doesn't really fit that mold, but I could be wrong when I say that. But that's my answer. I hope you guys like it.
You're wrong.
All right, Joe, go ahead. You feel that strongly. Kick it in.
Leroy Sané. Case in point, he's coming. It's coming. He is out of contract in June. He is on his way here.
I just got to say, I find it very bold of Joe to pick a winger after we've already signed 2 starting wingers. But, that's just me. I don't know if anyone's
3 wings, baby.
3 wings, yeah, because there's
3-winged horse.
There's famously 3 wings on a football pitch, but I guess Joe wouldn't know that because he's 7 whiskeys deep.
Yeah, it's like a fin, like the dorsal fin and then 2 wings. So, one of them plays inside. It's fine.
Chicago fires a fish, confirmed.
Chicago fires a fish, confirmed. Paul, you wanna hop in?
Yeah, I'm gonna change mine on the spot actually. So for the chat, okay. I wrote Neymar was coming after Santos. I still think it might happen. The chat was kind of weirdly fun, but yeah, I think it might happen. But I've changed my mind. I want Jason Denayer. It's happening. We need a centre back. He's a great centre back. I'm a big fan of his. He's still young. Just go get him.
That's a W answer. He's not even 30 yet, and he's a stud. Got tons of experience. Paul, I agree with you. Joe, I hate you.
Hey, no, you know what? I hate you. So I'm looking here through the notes, right?
And what do you have? You have CM8. You know who's CM8? Chris Mueller. Are you trying to make Chris Mueller our designated player? Another winger? Are
Got you
you?
there. Got you there.
That is crazy blasphemy considering CM stands for center mid. But once again, you
It
wouldn't know
also
that
stands for Chris Mueller.
because any sense of brain cells in your head are drowned away in brown
Matt
liquor right now.
officially
But
wants
it's
Chris
okay.
Mueller on a designated player contract. We're going to move on, Matt.
That's
You
what I
can't talk
hear.
anymore.
The liquor, it speaks to me, and that's what it tells me you want.
All right. My DP choice. This one feels obvious. I initially wanted to say Weston McKennie because everybody wants to say Weston McKennie, but realistically, 100% it should be Evander, right? If he's available, you have a proven commodity in MLS that you can go buy, right? Forget like even trying to work out some kind of trade. You can just go to Portland and say, here's however much money you want, give him to me, right? And then pay him whatever he would like to be paid. You have a guy who you know can really facilitate 3 scoring wings around him. It feels like a no-brainer that it's a move we're not going to make because we're attached to Guti and hope he can be that guy. But if you dropped me in there today, I feel like that would be the first call I made.
I don't mind it. It's a good take. I hope that validation helped you, John.
It did. It means the world. I appreciate that. And we're gonna move to our community takes now. So guys, we're gonna go with a couple like pre-asked ones just to kind of get the ball rolling. If you would like to hop in, feel free to throw up. You can hit the little hand button to request to speak, and we'll bring you in. As always, please don't be an asshole about it. Be a nice person, unless you're talking to Matt, in which case you can tell him he has bad takes. But yeah, pop your hand up. We'll get you in here. Ask your question. We'll kind of keep on moving. To start, this was actually this is my second favorite question that was asked on the forum. Number one, Carlos Turan enthusiast said, out of everyone on the roster currently, who do you think baptizes their Italian beef, and who do you think leaves it dry? I have an answer I think you guys will all agree with. I think Chris Mueller 100% keeps it dry. I don't think he puts any juice on. Like
That's exactly what I went to.
Yeah, like no peppers, no cheese. Like it's dry beef on a piece of bread. That's
Mayonnaise on there.
That you're 100% right. 100%. And then I think who dunks it, and it's got to be because another hometown boy is Gutman. He just looks like he goes in there with like the juice in a straw and just sucks it down, and then just doesn't even like the bread is just falling apart. He's just shoving it in his mouth. He likes it so moist.
He maintains eye contact as they dip it to make sure they're as committed to it as he is.
Actually, I feel like I have 2 good answers to this one, if you don't mind me interjecting, because I'm going to forget this thought if I don't share it immediately. I'm going to start with dry, and my answer is actually going to be Brian Gutierrez, because although I like we've talked about him, super cool, he gives me super picky eating vibes, and I feel like as a result is like scared of the juices, you know? Maybe I'm just
French fries vibes.
Exactly, chicken tenders and French fries vibes. That's what Guti gives me. Because let's be real, he's like what 21 right now, but in reality, he still looks like he's 16. I don't mean any offense by that. It's just reality.
I do. I think if he had some juice, he'd probably put on some muscle and start looking like Kutsias.
Exactly. If he baptizes beef, he'd be the American version of Kutsias, I guess. But my baptize their beef answer, I'm actually going to go with Carlos Turan. And my reasoning is because he's a TikTok guy. I know this because he's made TikToks. And this is the guy who probably scrolled across like a video of some food review of a guy going to Mr. Beef and completely baptizing his beef and thought, oh, that's cool. That's the way you must do it. And then in reality, he tried it. Do I think he enjoyed it? No, but he thought it was trendy. That's my final answer. Booyah. Sorry, Brian. I feel like I upset him, but hopefully he's listening, but also hopefully he's not listening.
Yeah, I kind of hope he wasn't listening, to be honest. Yeah, I definitely had Zinkernagel as a guy who baptizes, though. Something about like kind of that European vibe. He just seems like somebody who would see like a bowl of beef juice next to a sandwich and be like, obviously these go together. You know, there would
You
be
can
no
baptize me,
hesitation.
John.
All right, hey. We'll get there.
That's a handsome, almost as handsome as Joe.
All right,
Hey,
guys. Go ahead, Joe.
No, it's fine.
Okay. fellas, again, if you guys want to hop in, share a take, ask us a question, anything like that, just hit that little request button, and we'll get you in here shortly. Gonna go to my actual favorite question that Logan asked. He said, this isn't really a question, it's more of a take. He said, Zink or Noggle is the most attractive man the Fire have ever signed. And I kind of wanted to pose a question here. Chat, feel free to weigh in. Fellas, who's the hottest player on the team right now?
Not Guti.
Okay, that was just mean. That was just mean.
That
Let's
was
refrain
mean,
from
yeah.
being
Like,
let's
at
refrain from
least,
saying
at
this
least I
person's
said
not.
sorry.
Hold on. So when this question was posed, so this is, are we talking about in history or on the team currently?
Let's say current roster.
Current roster.
Who's the hottest guy?
Current roster, yes, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, all time it's Lundberg, right?
Yeah,
I'm too young
that
to
model?
think about it old time. Zink's the really obvious answer, but I feel like he's like the flashy new guy on the block that is super cool, and that's why we're picking him. I'm gonna go
Spencer Ritchie. is
Spencer.
the
Yeah,
hottest
well,
in
he's
NFL
not on the
in
team.
history.
He's not on the team.
He's not on the team. I'm saying in history, bro.
Oh, in history. Okay,
It's
sorry.
Chris Brady. Come
Sorry,
on,
Joe.
it's just Chris
I
Brady.
didn't- Yeah, but he's younger than me.
Mulleted Chris Brady.
That feels weird. I feel like I got to say Andrew Gutman just because as an individual, and it's not because I like Andrew Gutman. Like John's giving me a look.
It's
but
1,000,000%
guy,
because he went to Indiana.
He looks like a thumb.
As a guy who has a receding hairline and is soon to be bald, I have a newfound
No.
appreciation for bald men. And as a result, I think they're very handsome because that's going to be me soon. So shout out you, Gutman.
Marshy just found a good shot there.
You're handsome and you're better than Jonathan Dean at soccer.
Yes, it is confirmed by DJ. Matt thinks Tim is hot.
Tim is a very handsome man. Also, that man knows how to do everything. So he's even double the handsomest, whatever the heck I'm trying to say. But yeah, bald dudes. Chase too. Gasper.
Okay. All right. Look, whoever F is got it absolutely correct. It's Kellen Acosta. Let's just keep it straight. Like facial structure, those eyes. Like, come on, fellas. Like, let's just be realistic. Okay. I don't think it's even that close.
Kellen's a bit more age appropriate for me, and he dresses well, which is nice.
Exactly. He takes care of his appearance. He has a passion for candles. We learned that last year. You know?
We did.
Until somebody broke her candle. John, who broke her candle again?
Fucking you did, Matt.
Yeah, no, I just wanted you to say it. I'm sorry about that.
Having a weird day, man. You're having a weird night. Love it. Again, fellas, I feel like when we joined, we had a whole bunch of requests, and now all those requests are gone. So please pop a request. You can even just toss in the chat at this point. If you got a take you want to share, I'll get you in. But would love to hear from you guys if you'd like to. We'll keep it moving with some of the pre-asked ones. Let's see what we've got here. This one, I think we all kind of like clutched our pearls at, but Render312 said, I prefer the Fire to participate in the League's Cup rather than the Open Cup. Is it safe to say we all think that's horrible?
Yeah.
And usually Render's a pretty even keeled, and I agree with a lot of the stuff he says. This makes me want to block him on Twitter.
Yeah, this is pretty obnoxious. And I know Render on Twitter. Like, this is a reasonable human being. I think this stems from like wanting to see some like different teams play that aren't just MLS. But ultimately, like if you were an actual Fire fan who would prefer the team to play in Leagues Cup over the Open Cup, like what the fuck are we doing? Come on, Render. You're better than this. Open Cup is our heritage. That's literally what we're known for. That is Chicago Fire, the essence of what our football club's about.
Somebody did make the point that there is an aspect of this where like the competition in Leagues Cup is better, right? So like there are stronger teams in Leagues Cup than there is in the Open Cup this year. So, or I guess the next 2 years is how they're running it. So I get that. But even then it's like, I don't know, do we really want to watch like the messy cash grab tournament? And I don't even dislike Leagues Cup that much, but if you're asking me to pick, it feels kind of like an obvious choice.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, it's like could I go see the Fire in Club America again? Would that be awesome? Yes. But what do I want to see? I want to see Chicago Fire versus Chicago House again. Like that's what I want to see.
I want to see Chicago Fire against Chicago City Dutch Lions.
On a Tuesday in Bridgeshire.
No, on
I'll
a
be there.
Tuesday at a turf field on the lakefront. That's what I want to see. With one bleacher.
But I
Cancel
think
each.
also we haven't actually talked about the fact that we're in Open Cup and it's not our pro team. And it would be like terrible of us not to acknowledge that about how fucking awesome it is. And if everyone in this chat does not go to those games, I'm going to be really upset. So, we keep talking about how much we love the Open Cup. Let's actually show up. Let's go out and win it. I said it earlier. It's actually winnable this year. Not that it wasn't the last few years. But we're lucky to be back, and we should take full advantage of it. Sorry, I just had to get sentimental there for a minute. I love the Open Cup.
And for the record, I actually said we will win it. So if we just want to be, focused on who's more in on this, it's definitely me and now Matt.
Listen, I have a persona of being an optimist, and I'm just trying to tone that level down a little bit so people don't think people don't get me. I want to stay mysterious, so I just change up my personas every once in a while.
You're a Chicago Fire Golden Retriever. You're not mysterious.
Also, Jiggly in chat says, I went to all the Open Cups last game last season. Where were you, Matt? Where were you? I was front row at Indy 11 at House. I was at them all. So, busted.
I do want to quick point out, TJ, Holy Night DJ of Florida, said, honestly, wouldn't be shocked if Greg has Klopas in his ear shouting, get that fucking cup. Like, I agree with you, right? I think the organization as a whole, like, definitely wants it. B, I feel like Greg, for somebody who has walked in and been given the keys, spent a shit ton of money, probably spending even more this summer, recognizes like, man, if I don't have something to show out of this year, even if it's just an Open Cup semi, right? I might lose some of this goodwill, right? Because I think we all kind of have a certain expectation that we better not shit the bed the way we have the last forever, right? So I do. That's kind of the thought process behind that. Of like, I think he's going to recognize the importance of like, we could win this, right? All it takes is 5 really awesome games, and we walk out of this season with a trophy.
I agree. Let's do it. Put everything we got into it. Brian Gutierrez goal against
I don't know about that.
Who's one of the teams? Philadelphia Union. I don't know if they're in it to win the Open Cup. Scenes. We all go crazy. We rush the field. It'll be awesome. I'm excited for it.
Interesting. Okay, so we had Marshy dropped a take in the chat, so I'm gonna read this really quick. He said, "I have a take, but I don't want to talk unless Matt says something stupid." Don't have to wait very long for that.
Joe's ugly. Joe's ugly. Joe's ugly. That's stupid as hell.
Right, so he said, although I don't think the Milson transfer is happening, which if I'm recalling correctly, he's a winger who plays for Sporting. I think they're U22 side. I could be wrong about that. I'm trying to kind of remember that off the top of my head. I think it would be an all-around good signing, whether we play him over Zinkernagel or if we play him on the left or at the 10. I think Zinkernagel is slightly overrated by Fire fans right now. Anybody have any strong feelings about the Milson transfer? Matt raised his hand. Okay.
Yeah. First off, the Milson transfer is just not happening. It's probably just an outdated rumor. He's naturally a winger. We don't need a winger. What probably happened is when we were looking guys at Perrin and Iconi that were all reports on the system, is we probably, reached out to 10 different wingers, Milton included, and the report just got late. That being said, like, I think it's stupid for us.
Though?
I mean, they're all
right, like
unique profiles in their essence, but according to the transfer market,
not necessarily a DP target, isn't he? Like playing for Sporting's youth teams. I'm thinking of somebody else.
Oh no, you're thinking of the Sporting CP. This is a guy who plays. Oh God, I forgot where he played, like Hungary or something like that.
Marshy requested to speak. I'm going to bring him in.
Yeah, lock him in.
Marshy.
There we go.
Hey guys.
Marshy, you here?
Milson plays for Red Star Belgrade in Serbia.
Okay. There it is.
And they're in the Champions League right now. I don't know if he has Champions League minutes, but he's doing all right in the Serbian league right now.
Yeah, it was John, further context, it was a report on Twitter that came out after we signed Bamba and Zinkernagel. And Marshy, to your point, I don't think we're going to sign him for the reasons that we've already signed 2 wingers. Like I previously mentioned, we probably reached out to a bunch. In fact, that we did because like Icone and Perrin, like I like the concept of bringing in $5 million, dollar wingers from Champions League clubs. If Red Star Belgrade really counts as a Champions League club, let's be honest, they're more Europa League. So I like where our head's at, but I don't think that one at this point in time is a fit. Maybe in a couple of years though. He's still a pretty young guy.
Yeah, no, I did say I don't think the Milson transfer is happening, but just then in that case into the other thing, I think the Zinkernagel transfer is slightly overrated by a lot of Fire fans. I was excited for him. I think he's a great player. I don't know if in 2 years he'd be a starter. Shit, I don't even know if halfway through the season he'd be a starter. I think he's great. I don't know if he's like the franchise player that some people have made him out to be so far.
Yeah,
he's good.
Oh, sorry. Go finish up.
He's good, but he is like in his 30s. He's slightly past his prime, and if I remember correctly, he was a substitute at Bodo Glimt, but I could be wrong on that. He was at the very least not great, just kind of okay at Bodo Glimt. I don't think he's going to be the crazy good player that some people have made him out to be, even though he is incredibly attractive.
He's legitimately 30. Like, yes, you can say he's in his 30s. He's 30. It's not like he's. I mean, how old?
I could have sworn he was 31. I could have sworn he was 31.
He was born on December 16th, 1994. You fetus-hating person, you.
Yo!
Okay.
Get out.
All right.
Marsh, you're allowed to stay. John, go ahead.
No,
I think
fine, you're
there's total. Actually, like, I don't disagree with you. Like, if he's starting in 2 years, like, that'll be cool. Like, if he comes in and he's awesome, right? And we got him on a TAM deal and like it works out. I think at the time, some of the kind of context around this was like, he's not meant to be a locked in day one starter, right? Like, he's somebody who's supposed to push guys like Marin and Guti and even Bamba at times, right? Because he can play on both wings. Like, he's somebody who's meant to raise the floor of everybody else, and maybe he ends up being the starter. But I mean, you look at, we still have a guy like Marin who's 25 years old. I personally, if you ask me like who has the brightest future on the team, I think he's in short order there. Like, I think he's awesome and was a victim of Klopas ball. So yeah, I don't disagree with you that like, I don't think he'll be starting here in 2 years unless he turns out to be awesome, which would be great. But I don't think that was ever, I don't know that was the plan either, you know? And maybe I'm wrong, but that was my impression.
No, for sure. I didn't mean in the fact that like he's ass, so he won't be playing in 2 years. I meant more
Sure.
I meant more like people are hyping him up like a lot, and I don't think he's going to be the player that people are imagining him. I think he's going to be the player to score some goals every few weeks, maybe, you know, score one every couple months, and be more of a clutch player, I guess. You know?
Yeah.
So do you think he's going to have like a Shitos trajectory for his Fire career? Is that what you're trying to say?
Maybe more like Mueller, but way more but way better and way more what's the word?
Better?
Sorry. Yeah, I said better, but consistent, like more consistent, I guess.
And healthy. I think also it's really interesting because if you like follow the Fire on Twitter or Instagram, it's been Zinkernagel literally nonstop since he got here. Every photo has been the Zink. And yeah, it's probably because he's handsome. But I think that's alluding to the fact that the club is making him out to be slightly higher of a profile of a player than what is actually going to be the intent. And that's because I don't think the roster is necessarily complete. I think day one,
are the other new players even in Chicago yet? I thought it was just because other than Barroso,
to my knowledge, and Alex will probably know. To my knowledge, Alex will probably know in chat. The only one that's not there, the only two that aren't there yet are Bamba and Kouame. Everyone else has been reported on site, including the Fire 2 guys that have been signed. Alex just said yes. Don't know what that means, but that's an answer, I guess. I think Zink's going to be a dog. I mean, this guy came in to a team in preseason, hopped into a game. Granted, it was against a bad preseason Sporting KC. Went in, scored, and got subbed out after 30 minutes. And if you watch the goal, he's clearly got some moves that are going to put some people on skates over in the back line. But like John mentioned, this is a guy who is supposed to come in and make everyone else better. There's a reason they brought him in. He plays right wing. He could play left wing. He could play up top. And he's going to compete for all those spots. He's going to give everyone a fucking hard time. And I think he has the ceiling to maybe get like 7 or 8 goals and 6 or 7 assists in the league, which is fine because on the other side, you got Bombo, which is who you expect to to do the big numbers. But I think he's going to be a good asset. Maybe he's a little overhyped, but once Bamba hits the floor, that's where all the hype's going to go. So the Zink hype will go right out the window.
Oh, for sure. And again, I feel like I'm kind of like shitting on him a little bit at the beginning. I don't mean to say that he's a bad player. Not by no means. I think that right now,
He's just old.
no, I think that like right now as it stands, he is like lock-in starting 11. I think that as it stands, he could probably pass for being a top 10 player on the team. I don't think that he's going to be the kind of player that you look back on in like 5 years and think Philip Zinkernagel was the best player we've ever had, and he's going to be, he's going to go down in fire history. I don't think that. I don't think he's going to have that level of prominence. I think he's going to make the plays when he has to. I think he's going to score goals. I don't think he's going to etch his name into anything, and I think that's more the point I'm trying to make.
I have a more serious question for you. Now, when you are cuddling with Zinkernagel, do you think that his beard is soft and comforting?
Okay.
Or do you think it's itchy and ticklish?
Nah, he's got that hard Viking Danish beard. It's itchy.
Oh, my man.
I just appreciate the fact that he answered that question, by the way.
Paul, any thoughts on the Penny Man before we keep moving?
I honestly don't know enough about the kid to really comment, so.
Yeah, that's actually a sleeper point. The fact that nobody knew who this guy was before he became a Fire player. So it's all really just wait and see. Like, we could all guess.
I knew he scored a goal at Anfield. That's all I knew.
He's kind of like an unknown quantity of footage right now, so I'm just kind of show me what you've got. You know, recognize now.
The kind of interesting thing I think you said there, Marshy, that I actually kind of agree with, like from the limited amount of time I've watched him, right, which is basically like some highlights in that preseason game, he does seem like, if you look at the profile across the top, Bamba, at least in his time in Spain, was not converting goals, but he was really good as like a passer, right? If you look at his progressive passing, his chance creation, those were really, really high, even for top 5 leagues. So worth noting, right? Like, he's a really good distributor. Guti, like, every now and then he'll bust one out. He can finish if he needs to, but he can distribute well. Hugo, what?
Sure.
Continue. Yeah, continue, John. Sorry.
You look at Hugo, who's essentially just I don't want to say he's a tap-in merchant because he had some nice moments last year, but like, his job is not to create chances. His job is to finish chances. I think Zinkernagel kind of has a nice blend of, he can finish easy finishes the way a striker should, and he can also make a shot for himself like we saw in that preseason match, right? Which the team sorely lacked.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of what Greg Berhalter said, where their goal this season is to unleash Kuipers, to get him balls in the box and, get him to finish, because we did not utilize him this first season. You can see, if you go look at all of his goals against Ghent, he can do the job goals with Ghent, apologies. He can score goals himself, but he greatly benefits when he has the person to, feed him the passes. And for a lot of the season, it was the player he was playing up front with, the other attacker. I can't remember his name. I apologize. But for a lot of his time with Genk, or was it Genk or Ghent? I think it was Ghent. With a lot of his time at Ghent, that's what he did. He had the guy up front who was feeding him passes. And it worked for him. I think that this whole first season, we had a hard time with it. You can see that he was having trouble adjusting if you go back and watch the first match. I know that a first match isn't a good way to judge any new player, but he was struggling to adjust to it, and it got better as the season went on. But I think that this season, Greg's going to make that his priority.
Yeah, I'm with you. And he still had 14 goals last year, 10 goals, 10 goals. Yeah, 10 and I think a couple assists. So hell yeah, appreciate you, Marshy. I'm going to send you back out into the ether now, but appreciate you hopping in.
Thanks, Marshy.
You're welcome. Sorry if the take wasn't hot enough for you, Alex. You guys said you wanted people on. Damn.
That was I like that. I thought that was a good conversation.
That was a good one. It pissed off Joe. That's how you know it's a good one.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Marshy.
Right. See you
Great
guys.
to hear from you, dude.
See you on March 1st.
Ooh, he's right about that. There. March 1st, baby.
What's that?
We'll kind of keep. Isn't that the home opener?
Yeah, I know. I'm just being stupid.
You are stupid. This is true. Oh God, Jiggly requested. All right, Jiggly, I'm going to keep
start the timer. 5 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes. 100%.
We just admitted him.
Here we go.
Jiggly, welcome to the chat.
I'm waiting for. There we go. My camera's on. I can open up my beer.
Cracking
I
beers.
think that with the conversation that's being had here about about Big Penny. First of all, I think we should be calling him Big Penny, and second of
I
all,
like that.
I think that he is definitely he may not be the guy. We should still be looking for another guy. Like as soon as we offload Suke, as soon as we offload Mueller. I don't mean in terms of like he absolutely isn't, but in terms of we should be building depth through pushing players down. So I want the next guy we sign, if we sign another winger after we get rid of Mueller, to be better than Big Penny. That's what I mean. Not that he isn't there for right now. Just
I guess my first question is, why do we call him Big Penny? What am I missing? Jiggly, can you please
Pennies are
explain?
made of zinc.
Zink.
Okay, got it. Thank you. No, I like
dropped.
I like that. No, I see what you're saying. I think there's a very good chance that Zink goes in there, with no expectations and ends up winning the right wing starting job for the whole season. I think that's a possibility. I mean, he's a relatively high enough profile to make that acceptable without bringing in a winger who on paper is better than him. But like you mentioned, it would be great for our depth if we bring in a winger who's quote unquote on paper better than him. That being said, we still have Marin on that right, who's going to give him a hell of a hard time. And I think if those are your one or two options and you support Jonathan Bamba with a guy who's my God, who's going to hold himself accountable, your wing group, your wing squad is looking pretty good without an additional one. I think right now, and I'm pretty sure you'd agree with this, Jiggly, our focus needs to turn to the center of the pitch.
Yes,
that needs to become the number one priority. And then everything else after that is just good squad depth that will probably take 2 or 3 transfer windows to actually make happen.
And I have an even hotter take that will, Paul was mean earlier by just calling him ugly, but I
didn't say he was ugly.
think.
I said he wasn't the most handsome guy in the team. You said he was ugly.
But I don't think that's I did not like what I saw out of Guti last season, and it looks like he has regressed in a way. And I think that I know that a lot of people want to keep him around. If there is any homegrown player we should be working to keep around, that's obviously Chris Brady right now. If he wants to do contract, you give it to him right now. But Guti, on the other hand, they gave him the new big contract, and he just hasn't done that much. And if we get anything, I know it's sort of like how we had Ship last time. It's he finally gets a chance to play in the center of the pitch, which he hadn't been before because we had this other guy who needed to be in the center of the pitch. But now this time around, I mean, I don't think so. I think that we need to get that final third DP needs to be a 10. It needs to be that, because it's not that I fully trust Kwame, but I think Kwame and Acosta can be those two starters as the other two central midfielders. But I think we can do better than Guti up there.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely do better than Guti up there. I don't think it's realistic because it's Guti. And, it's kind of difficult to take a guy that you've been praising as your top homegrown outside of Brady, and even maybe Pineda.
No, I think they've been in the same way that the U.S. national team has been screwing over Brady. I think the Fire have kind of been doing it too. I mean, the U.S. national team, they've been doing it by not calling them up, but the Fire, they make their whole focus about homegrown stuff as Guti. They did that for Gaga as well. Brady is better than both of them. I'm going to be honest. Brady is better than both. And
100%.
they've done nothing about it.
Yeah, I hear you. I think it's going to be very difficult for anyone to come in and actually take Guti's place. Maybe next year, it's a different scenario if Guti doesn't make that jump. DJ actually said something interesting in the chat, something along the lines of his prediction was that one of Kuipers, Acosta, or Guti will be gone by the end of the season. And I'd be interested to see, do those gears start turning if Guti doesn't produce this season? Because then at some point you think about, okay, number 10, I think we could all agree is the most important position on a pitch. It just is. It is the opportunity to make the people behind you better. It has the people to make in front of you way better. And if Guti's not producing and you want to be a championship caliber team and you've already surrounded him with a quality front three in Kuipers, Bamba, and Zinkernagel / Marin, then you need to upgrade. And it should happen. Guti shouldn't just be given the job. I don't think he's going to be given the job. He's going to end up fighting for it. He'll win it. but there should be players there that could hold him accountable. Kwame is not a 10. He's dropped back a little bit more. So we got a little work to do on that front.
Freba's definitely not going to be the guy, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He has a better chance than Glasgow, and I know that's really going to hurt Paul's feelings.
We've got another request. So, Jiggly, appreciate you. I'm going to move us along here. Thanks for hopping in, as always. Pleasure chatting with you. I do think, looks like we're going to bring Ruben in here. I do think, for what it's worth, the interesting thing about Guti specifically is, like, I do think there's a chance, Matt, like, we end up bringing somebody in like a Weston McKennie, just play with 2 8s and a 6, like, not with a traditional 10. And he ends up kind of requesting to leave because he feels like, hey, I'm not getting my playing time. I don't fit this system. Because candidly, I mean, okay, just making sure I actually sent that invite to Ruben. Is he, right now, is anybody actually bringing him in over Zink or Nagel or Marin? Because I don't know that I would.
Great.
Ruben, what's
W
going
take.
on, man?
Hi, Ruben.
Ruben, can you?
Exile time, Ruben.
All right, he muted himself. Okay. Well, we'll give you a minute to see if we can get you back online there. Paul, Joe, any thoughts on the Guti drama as we just discussed? Otherwise, we can hop a quick community question.
We can hop on the next one. I think everything's been said. Guti is, just failing before our eyes.
Oh,
yeah, I wouldn't say he's failing. He's just the ceiling that was kind of expected of him just hasn't really come to pass, and I think he's going to be a solid MLS player going forward if he stays on this path, but I don't think he's going to be Europe bound the way we all thought.
He's going to end up in Liga MX. Let's be real.
That's fair.
Ruben, I'm going to remove you and try and get you back as soon as Czar1234 was requested. So we're going to bring him in, or bring them in, excuse me.
Czar1234, what's popping?
Right. Well, you're about to get an earful from me and my girlfriend because she's here screaming up a storm. Why are they hating on Guti so much?
Group.
All right, so I guess from my vantage point, I'll be super transparent. I think I'm a new Fire fan as like 2 years ago, right?
Welcome.
Dude, I'm like super passionate. Like, holy shit, man. From our stand, I feel like Shaqiri was his downfall. Like, he gave so much opportunity to other people. And you saw it in the USMT. He was giving it, like, we were screaming our heads off. Guti, why didn't you go for the freaking ball, dude? They crossed it over to other people, and it's almost like he's playing unselfishly, but again, it's to his detriment. And in our, like, the beautifulness is, like, you see the Chicago buy-in into this guy. And my hopes is that he does become the Chicago guy, because really, like, what is a team if you're bringing in people from all across the world? It's not a Chicago team to me.
I think, if I may start off this one, because I had an immediate thought, I think it's important to also note that at our core, nobody in here and nobody in the Fire organization, of course, wants Guti to fail. In fact, we're a significantly better team when he's successful. And I think you're right. The systems that he's been in previously with Hendrickson, and was he a Wiki guy?
Yes.
Someone nod your head. Yeah. Wiki, Hendrickson, and Klopas are not coaches that are going to skyrocket you to the moon. Berhalter is probably the coach who's best at developing young American talent because he's done it in his U.S. soccer career. And so for that reason, I'm optimistic that this is the year that Guti will finally take that branch. Now, I feel like this is the last year where you can really make that claim and not start looking like a fool, going into 2026. You're right. He played well under Pochettino, and hopefully with Shaqiri gone, he could play his natural position in a system that is more suited towards his play style, with a coach that's better suited for developing young talent and also just better tactically than Frank Klopas was. The concept of him being good this season is not off the table. In fact, if you're a Guti stan, like it sounds like you and your girlfriend are, that you should be really excited about this year, because this should be the year that in theory all the things are lining up and he should take off. So I hear exactly what you're saying. I think the systems have failed him, and Greg's the guy. If anyone's going to get it out of him, it's going to be Greg.
I mean, I'd agree. I think it's telling that they asked him up, right? People see something, so let's see it. And we were screaming at our screen. We're like, dude, come on, why wasn't that yours? And I think we're all kind of burning for him to pull through. But what is it that gets him to burn? And unfortunately, if it's not us, hopefully he pulls through in the season because we're really excited for him.
I think a lot of it for him has to come down to that killer instinct and that finishing ability, because like he's like all the time during the last couple of years, especially last year, he'd get in positions where he'd have the ball, but his head would be down. He wouldn't be looking at the goal, or he would just put some, not powerful shot behind, or like a very low percentage shot. And I feel like he needs to get that killer instinct. I think that's probably the big thing, because even last year he was put in positions to score, he just didn't finish. I think that's what's annoying, because you watch him with I think about the John Duran goal where he did the back heel flip to him. It's like the talent's there. He just needs that killer instinct. And I mean, unfortunately for him, he still hasn't developed both physically, and he hasn't really taken that step over the last couple of years. But yeah, I agree with everybody else. I think this is an opportunity, hopefully, for him under this new coaching regime. But this is his year. He's either going to become that European talent, or he's going to stay in MLS and be a solid player, which isn't a knock on him, but it's going to be a huge waste of the potential what could be with him.
Yeah, and thanks for having me on, guys. I think the last point I just want to say is I'm really excited to have someone next to Turan like Jack Elliott. Him and Gutman, dude. Gutman was a freaking beast at the end of last season. The amount of shots that guy almost got on, bro. Holy, we kept calling it. I don't know if it was in the Leagues Cup game, but he got one. We're like, finally, dude, because he kept shooting from the outside. And I think we have an amazing defense, dude. Excited for the season. Hopefully see you all out there. And dude, I want to keep Turan for forever, dude. That guy's the best. Yeah, man, Gutman, dude.
Love Gutman.
W take. Although it's Gutman, but
no, I know him from elementary school. He pronounces it like that. I'm just kidding, man.
Oh, sorry, Zar.
Hey, wait.
I think you just dropped a name there. Do you want to pick up?
Zar, before you head out, any thoughts from the girlfriend? Any added things that Zar missed, girlfriend?
I want to go back to the question about who's the hottest player.
Okay.
I think it's the coach.
Who?
I think it's the coach.
Ooh, Triple G. Point one for Baldman. Let's go.
Matt would be in agreement, right? Because you like bald guys. That's what we were talking about.
Nailed it.
Was she around for the Wiki years? Were you guys fans for when Rafa Wiki was here?
2 years then.
No, dude. We showed up with Kutsias, and that was really painful.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you should saw Wiki. I mean, I was moist every time he would pop up on the field.
Okay.
This is a family podcast.
Well,
thanks,
not really.
guys.
It's actually literally the opposite. Zar, appreciate you appreciate
thanks,
you and share with us.
Bye, Zar. Bye, girlfriend.
You,
appreciate you.
All right. We're gonna try.
Cool.
That was a fun time. Is it the first woman in the history of this podcast? There we go. We're gonna try and get Ruben back in now.
Oh, sorry, Alyssa.
Yeah,
such an Alyssa.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot Alyssa's made appearances. That's my bad. I do want to
unplug his mic, Alyssa. Do it.
I do want to say one thing about Guti. I think generally speaking, we talk about him as a 10. I don't know that he has the creativity to play there. I don't think he's somebody who can make something out of nothing. I think he's a guy who can make some really nice passes and sees the field incredibly well. But if you put him in a situation where he's got multiple guys around him pressing him, he's not somebody getting out of that.
And that's why I think being supported by a better supporting cast is going to be helpful for him. He'll have more players that are in better positions, but I hear you. Ruben, are you with us?
Can you unmute yourself, big dog?
Fuck. Okay, how about
there? There we go. Hey, Ruben.
There we go.
I switched to a headset. I was on my phone earlier, and that's probably why it didn't work. Okay, so I am here to defend Brian Gutierrez, as I assume you assumed when I raised my hand the first time. Look, as we saw when he played for Pochettino in his 2 games, both on the wing and in the middle, If he gets space, then on the ball, his first instinct, and he's one of the few guys on past Fire teams to do this, who looks to go forward with the ball almost all the time. The Fire had a massive problem, not just with Shaqiri, but even before Shaqiri with him on the pitch. They had problems creating space because a lot of their runners were lazy. One of the reasons why Marin Haile Selassie and Gutierrez worked so well as opposed to Gutierrez and Mueller or Gutierrez and Shaqiri is that Haile Selassie has been willing and is willing, and it's one of the reasons why I don't have Zinkernagel ahead of him in my depth chart, is that Haile Selassie is willing to make those runs to create space without being a guy who demands the ball every time he makes a run, or he'll stop making runs. They need guys who can create space for Brian Gutierrez to receive the ball. The thing about MLS, as pretty much everybody here knows, but I'm just going to voice it, is that it is not a league like Spain or Italy where you're going to get time on the ball. Defenses in this league press almost all the time. Once the ball gets past the halfway line, there's very little space to work. So you need a lot of work from your offensive players off the ball. And that's something Brian Gutierrez has not had. And when he has it, like with Diego Luna on the national team, like I said with Pochettino, he gets space, and all of a sudden he's creative, and he's the guy who made the key pass for, I believe it was the first goal, or the second goal in the United States. And on Luna's goal, he makes in the second game, he makes the run that pulls the center back over to create the space for Diego Luna to play that through ball. So it's not like he doesn't have the talent and the knowledge to do it. He just, as you said before I got here, he just doesn't have the help to do all this. And if you get him the help, then he might have a breakout year and he might go. My worry is with him that he goes to England instead of a place like Spain, where if he does go to England, he's going to get destroyed by those center mids and center backs.
Yeah, Paul, you want to chime in on this?
Yeah, I agree with Ruben there. I think a large part of that of Guti doesn't have and has played at what his position should have. He should have for his position. I think a large part of that, not to place blame, but I think a large part of that is being stuck playing with Shaqiri for such important years of his career when he should have had the time and the space to get in those positions and make those passes. And try new things, make mistakes, and don't worry, you've got a pro right behind you to back you up. But Shaqiri was just never that guy, never been that guy, and he was never going to be that guy. So
it's also unfortunate with Chris Mueller because he was also that guy before the knee injury. He was doing a lot of off-ball runs when he first got here, and that created a lot of space for Gutierrez. And also, you saw the first 20 minutes of the year against Philadelphia, Andrew Gutman was making runs on the flank and Gutierrez was having no space. Gutman goes down, all of a sudden that space is closed, and he's just ineffective.
Yeah, and I agree with that on Mueller. I was such a fan of his because he failed so bad in Scotland. And I was rooting for him as a local kid. And when it didn't work out and it came to the Fire, I was rooting for the guy. Had a good first season. Had him written down as one of my MVPs for one of the seasons, but then he had that bad injury. Yeah, I think Gutman has to be that guy now, and he has to be the guy providing the overlap, giving Guti the space and the time and the energy to take risks, make mistakes. So, because where Triple G said he wants to utilise the wings as much as possible to try and make space and get Kuiper scoring. So I think we do need a little bit of an overlap and run so that we're not relying so heavy in the middle of the field and we have the space to get it out wide. Because like you said, the teams that sit back and pat the box, that's how you beat them, by just piling the pressure on them and, keeping them central, and then right when they're not ready, just hit it to the wing and get in across that corridor of uncertainty, not to be so
Definitely. One of the interesting things about Greg wanting to do that with the wings is that's what he tried to do with the national team, and that's why everybody hated him, is because they weren't playing through Christian Pulisic in the middle. They were playing, through Tim Weah out wide, and he didn't emphasize. He did not play through his best players with the national team, and while I'm mostly a fan of his work, I think he outcoached Gareth Southgate in the World Cup, things like that. I think that one of the things that makes him succeed in MLS is that MLS tends to reward teams who play out wide rather than what you want to do in the national team is in world football, because the center mids just aren't as good or as organized on an international team level. Like you want to play through the middle on an international level, whereas you want to play through wide on a club level because that's where the space is going to be.
Yeah, I think kind of two quick things, and we'll kind of keep moving. But I think generally speaking, like when we talk about Guti, I think the biggest issue I have, and like two kind of points you made, like one, talk about guys who work off ball. He does not work off ball. You want to put somebody in maybe the most important position on the field in a system like this, and he doesn't work off ball, and he can't create his own chances, right? And that's something I talked about before. Like he is not a guy who, if he's being pressed, can get out of that and then make a play. He needs that space. And we can talk all day about, he's going to have all this space. He's going to have all this space. But if teams know all we have to do is pressure him and we're going to win the ball back, at the most, arguably the guy who makes the rest of the offense go, because he kind of links the midfield to the forwards, I think that's going to cause a lot of problems. And then just on the backside, like I understand the team has been bad. Hugo Kuipers was still awesome. Marin Haile Selassie showed more flashes than Guti since he got here, in my opinion. Guys, like, there have been plenty of guys who've come into this team and performed above their expectations. For us to be sitting here and saying, he just needs more time. He just needs more time. At a certain point, he needs to just do it. And that's my point of, like, if he does not show out in these first 3 months, he's probably not going to be in the rotation as often. But that's more just my own kind of ass backwards rant on something I feel strongly
That's
about.
fair. Real quick, that brings me to before you let me go. The DP in the summer is going to be Weston McKennie, because Weston McKennie does everything you need him to do. You just mentioned who's going to be, Brian Gutierrez needs that space. Who's going to be that guy in the middle to do that work for you? It's Wes. He's a locker room guy that you need. And he likes playing with Greg, and Juventus have been trying to get rid of him for 2 years. So, it's Wes. It's Wes. It has to be Wes.
Yeah. Appreciate that for what it's worth. I think we all agree that it should be the move if he is open to getting, $20 million or whatever the fuck Greg wants to pay him. I will say, I think if you see a move like that, I think there's a very reasonable chance that we just move to a different formation, and Brian Gutierrez does not play at the 10, and we just don't play with a 10 anymore. We play with, an 8 and 2 6s or whatever. But anywho, we're going to keep on rolling here. Ruben,
thanks, Ruben.
As always, my guy. I think there's kind of two contrasting ones I want to go to, right? So Matt Dyson said, this is from the form that we submitted. Matt Dyson said Jonathan Bamba is not a slam dunk as our DP. It doesn't mean he doesn't meet Lagerwey's rule about having succeeded in multiple leagues and countries. He's open to the signing, but reserving his judgment. And then we also have from Barry Backpass, Bamba will outscore Kuipers this season. So I kind of want everybody to go back and forth on just, are you pro Bamba? You think he's going to be great? Or this might end up being a guy we try to move off of next winter?
Mo Bamba, baby.
All right, Joe is pro
logical.
Bamba, Mo Bamba.
Yeah, logical. Yeah, I think he is going to be a stud. There's no doubt that it's a good signing, but I like the point that Matt brought up about Garth Lagerwey. I mean, this is one of the most successful directors in MLS history. He knows what he's doing. And I can't lie, I was convinced this was a slam dunk DP until I read this take. And it has me like churning the gears and not churning, turning the gears in my head a little bit on does he have a point, or are we just, being pessimists because that's inherently who we are as a fan base? So I'm going to go with my gut and say it's not a slam dunk hire, but it's definitely way better than we've had probably since Basti, if we're honest. And I think he's going to contribute. Do I think he's going to score more goals than Hugo? No. Hugo's going to score more goals because he's going to get the most chances to score. Bamba has the potential to score 15 goals, but I think Kuiper has the potential to score 20. Your striker should be the leading scorer on your team. Maybe that's a hot take. Probably not. Should be. And I think in our case, systematically, Hugo will be. Bamba, I think, could comfortably sit at 2. And we're in for a good season if that's the case.
I think with the Lagerwey rule, I think the problem with rules is that there's always exceptions. So you can always go away from the rule. It's nice to have a kind of a plan to stick to, but sometimes for the right deal for the right player is there, you just take it. And I think that our scouting team just likes this guy. Well, little I've seen of him, I've enjoyed. Will Bamba outscore Kuipers? I think it'll be closer than we think. I saw a really good article from The Athletic last week. It was about how the front three is replacing the modern night, the old kind of forward, the number 9. And it was all about how the striker's movement is used to open up for the wingers to cut inside and get a shot off. And I think that's kind of the part of Triple G's plan this season. And I think we'll see more goals from Bamba than we think. Maybe even Selassie.
Yeah, I think kind of generally speaking, I wouldn't be shocked if we look back at this year and say Bamba's numbers were disappointing, but his play was outstanding. If you look at his time, like I mentioned before, his time in Spain, it was very much like not a ton of numbers to back it up. But if you look at like the advanced statistics, it's like it's a very high quality in terms of chance creation and playmaking, right? Not necessarily putting balls away, not necessarily making the pass to put something away, but maybe he's making the pass to make the pass, or he's progressing the ball downfield. So I think I wouldn't be shocked if he ended up with under 10 of both, maybe under 5 goals, but 8 or 9 assists. But we look back at the year and say he was constantly putting other people in a position to make the last pass or finish it off after a bit of creativity. So I think, I don't disagree that he's not a slam dunk, though. I mean, anything could happen. I think in a perfect world, he's our 3rd DP. I think it's whoever we get this summer, Hugo, and then this guy.
If Jonathan Bamba's our 3rd DP, we're going to fucking run this league, John.
I mean, purely by money spent, he will be, right? Like, unless we've been sold a bill of false goods. Kind of on that note, we had Joe C. who asked, what are your expectations for Kuipers this season? I'm expecting a huge year from him, but haven't seen much in preseason and training. And I wanted to wrap this back to Matt. Last year, you said in the preseason episode, don't be surprised if this guy, his numbers are underwhelming, and then in year 2, he pops off. I think early in the year, you had predicted him around 10 to 12 goals, and then said year 2 is when you'll see him burst over 20.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of expected. When Chris Muller-Marin and Shaqiri are your supporting cast and Frank Klopas is your head coach, you're naturally not going to beef up the scoreboard. It's just not going to happen. The fact that Hugo Kuiper scored 10 goals last year should be considered a success. In my head, it's a success. That's a good milestone to have in your first year in MLS when you're on a, what were we? Did we finish Wooden Spoon in the East? Yeah, we did, right? Wooden Spoon team in the East, coming in, crappy coach, crappy system, whatever, 10 goals. You know what I mean? Now, like I said in preseason, thank you for bringing it up because I'm definitely cooking here. He takes the jump and he has the cast and the coach to successfully do it. My expectation this year, and we could talk about this next year during the preseason episode, is he does get, let's go 17 to 20 goals. Tack on a few assists here and there as well. He's going to have a breakout year. We brought this guy in for $12 million fucking dollars. That's not pocket change. Yeah, it's a DP, but we spent $12 million on him. 17 to 20 goals should be the expectation. I think it's a reasonable ask. We'll see if it's actually doable because we haven't had a prolific scorer like that since Nico, and we need that if we're going to compete against an East conference that is stacked on stacked on stacked. Atlanta's gotten better. Everyone's gotten better. Nashville still sucks, and Toronto still sucks, but the East is good.
And St. Louis sucks worse.
Yeah, but they're in the West, so I'm not talking about them. Are they in the West? Did I make that up? They're in the West, right?
Fuck St. Louis either
Yeah,
way.
okay. Yeah, but fuck St. Louis anyways. But
Paul, Joe, what do you thoughts here?
He's got to be good.
Yeah, I think Kuipers. We should expect a lot more goals from him this season. I think it's just basically you break the bank to bring in a number 9 striker. You want goals, and that's his job. Not to be all Roy Keane about it.
So many goals by himself last year.
Oh yeah,
I can't imagine what's going to happen once he gets like a Bamba and other people on the side there and be able to create chances. It's going to be amazing. Because you know who's not going to create any chances? Jonathan Dean.
All right. Well,
I feel like that was just antagonistic, which is something because that's what I would do. But
never.
In one more chatter, one of the OGs here. We're gonna bring in one more before we wrap up. Mr. Skyway Willie, how are you doing, sir?
Is this Skyway?
I thought so, right?
Wallowbury? Skyway, is that you?
You're muted, Wallowbury.
Jiggly says it is. Jiggly, can you go help your dad, please? I'll get him. Hang on. Jiggly will get him a mic.
Right.
Jiggly will get him a mic.
While we're working on that, I do want to point out, I was going to do this after, but Matthew and I do actually have a little bit of a wager we want to post for the year. Matt.
Hang on. Before you do that, let's just make sure we get my name right. It's Matt, not Matthew John. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Matthew. Matt and I, a little bit of a wager for the year. If you guys don't know this, Matt, noted person who does tricks on it for Andrew Gutman. Me, somebody who appreciates the value Jonathan Dean brings to this team. We can't hear you, Joe. Anyway, so Matt and I have a little bit of a wager here. It's going to be total goal contributions for the 2025 season. Matt, are we doing league or total games? Or
we can do total games played.
All right. Oh yeah. So goal contributions in all competitions. I have Jonathan Dean. Matt has Andrew Gutman. We got a wager of what is it? What are we calling it? What's the number, Matt? I'll let you throw it out.
$200.
200. Okay. We're gonna do $200 to a charity of the winner's choice. We're not just giving each other money on this. So we'll keep that all above board as the season moves along. We'll keep some kind of tracker on it, but should be a fun to watch. Last year they tied, ironically enough. So something to point out for anybody.
Yeah, because Gutman played 11 games, but we don't have to talk about it because it doesn't.
He played 400 less minutes.
Whatever. What I'm going to do right now is head on over to Twitter, MIR97pods. For the next 24 hours, I'm going to tweet out who will have more G+A contributions in all competitions this season. Gutman and Dean, want to hear your thoughts. I'm not doing this to fit my agenda. John's not going to do this to fit his agenda. Genuinely curious to hear what you guys think. So
if you guys vote bet. Dean and Dean wins, I will Venmo somebody $5. But you have to prove you voted for
that's like blackmail or whatever they're calling it. Wait, is Skyway here? Skyway, are you here?
Yeah, are you here? Can we get the take?
Damn.
All right.
It's not working. Bummer.
All right. No worries. Jiggly said they'll fix it. Let's see what happens. We'll give it another minute, and if not, we may wrap up here.
I'm just saying, John, you need to be more financially responsible with your $200.
I
for real.
It's going to charity. It's going to charity. So
come on, man. It's like you're gonna put out dumb bets like that. Like who does that?
I think it's a bet. What did you float?
No, that's fine. We're gonna lock it in at this point.
No, wait. What did you float though? I don't remember.
No. It's locked in, Matt.
Okay, that's fine.
I think you're gonna lose.
No, absolutely not. I think it's gonna come down to whether
nobody's scared.
Nobody's scared unless Gutman tears his ACL like the first freaking game. Like,
would you
did he do that against Philly last year?
No, it was his hamstring.
That was his hamstring. Yeah, if that happens again, we're screwed. But I'm an optimist, and we're gonna keep it that way. Skyway, final test. Are you here? Oh, he's muted. 5, 4, 3. Oh, deaf end. I don't think it's gonna work today, Johnny boy.
All righty. Skyway, we appreciate the effort, brother. Might just move us along. Unfortunately, hopefully we can catch you in the next one. Poor this damn technology.
I mean, Matt couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, well, Matt's a boomer.
Oh, he's going up there.
And now,
Okay, at this point, we have to hold out and hear him.
This is why I'm too.
Here, Jiggly's here. Jiggly's here with Skyway. Here we go. Skyway's on the clock.
Oh,
Skyway. Ooh. Oh my goodness.
I can't even.
There it is.
There we go. Hey, what's up, Skyway?
Wow, shit sucks. Anyways, here, my couple of points here. I'll try to be real quick because I think you guys got other things to do in life. First off, speed on the wings. We finally got speed on the wings, okay? I think all the guys that Greg brought in, they all got speed. Now, the other thing that bothers me, though, is center back depth.
For sure.
Don't have it. Center mid a little bit, but you know what? I'm one of those guys that has a little faith in one David Parebo. I think his floor is Brant Bronico. That's his floor, I think.
That feels like a high
his
floor.
ceiling.
Bats off again.
His ceiling, I think, is well, when we lift MLS Cup 28, he will lift it.
Hell yeah.
I think he could be captain.
Wow.
Hell yeah. I love it, dude. This is why we wait for stuff like this out of Skyway's mouth. This is fucking awesome stuff. I love you, Skyway.
Thank you.
Some agreement in the chat about the center back.
Best take of the day.
Any comments on that, guys? I heard a few.
W.
Yeah.
W is the only comment. W.
Oh yeah.
W.
Yeah.
I echo
And
that.
again,
W.
I'm going to go back to my early takes. 2 words. Jason Denier. He was better than Virgil van Dijk at Celtic, so he's going to be better than Virgil van Dijk at the Fire.
Yeah, Skyway,
Totally.
I think you... Oh, real quick, John, and then I'll pass it back over to you. I think you're right. The 2 spots right now are center back and center mid. You got Pineda, who's kind of floating in both, but you need that definitive 4 starting center back, not starting center back, but 4 center back, not named Pineda. Pineda's kind of that emergency guy at this point. IMO, but you also need to bring in a couple more midfielders. I love the David Parebo take. I think that's awesome. You're an optimist just like me. That's why we get along. That's why we're best friends. Overall, I'll give you an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 this session, Skyway. You did great, buddy.
Yeah.
I'll try to
agree.
figure out the technical issue next time.
That's okay. The host couldn't figure it out. No expectations from you.
Okay. Have a good one, gentlemen. We'll see you March 1st, right?
See
Hell
ya.
Hell yeah.
See you, Skyway.
All right.
Hell yeah. I do want to give a quick shout out because I do feel like he made a good point about the wings. Vitaly Hulut, if that's how you say his name, hell of an assist in that preseason game. That could be a really exciting player to watch. I think a lot of those young guys might get some chances this year, and I'm really excited to see what that looks like. But yeah, I think that kind of does us in here. Matt, you want to kind of wrap us up and bring us home?
Yeah, 100%. John, thanks for walking us through all of that. Joe, thanks for yapping. Paul, thanks for your actual logic insight. And of course, thanks to everyone who spoke in the chat. 30 people maximum. That's kind of what I was looking for this first one in the chat. So really stoked to see that number. In comparison, last year, they were probably sitting at like 15, 14. So that's really, really fun to see. Really grateful for you guys taking time out of your day to come listen to 4 dudes just yap. It means a lot to us. We try to do good work for you guys. So thank you for being here. In case you didn't already know, follow us on Men in Red 97 on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. You could also follow MIR 97 Pods. That's where all of the podcast information is going to be posted. DJ said, hooray, Matt's mic lasted the entire podcast. It's because I got a new mic. So great news. Be sure to follow us on that Pods account. That's where we're going to be posting the schedule for hot takes. We don't want to just do this bi-monthly or like 2 times a season. We want to have these opportunities more often, whether in person, whether pre-recorded, or whether live on Discord or YouTube. So keep your eye out. We'll be around. Real quick, gentlemen, where can we find you on socials? Joe.
At Joe Titman with 1 N. Don't go to 2 N's.
Paul.
At CT Paul 90.
John.
Yeah, every episode I say I need to change it, and I never have. It's West 3 times. So West, 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 but all the E's are 3s.
Rock on. And you can find me at M-Shabes. That's MSHABES. And of course, all the Men in Red 97 platforms as well. Thank you all for being here. This was a blast. We'll see you March 1st for the opener. And all I got to say is, come on, you Men in Red.
Let's go! Yeah.
What he said.
Hey, Austin, are you still here? I forgot to say something. Can I record a clip right now? And can you add it on to the end of the video and be like, hey guys, forgot to share this, but I have some news? I don't know if you could do that. Austin, if you could hear me.
Yeah. What news?
Oh, it's not news. I just wanted to share something.
Yeah, I'm still recording, so go.
What is it, Matt? What is it?
I mean, it's not, I don't know what you're giggling about. I was just going to say, forgot to mention this on the actual stream. Yeah. Alex.
Okay.
I was cooking.
Oh,
Alex, God.
I forgot to actually say this. So this is going to be inserted into the back of the episode, hopefully, but be on the lookout. Hopefully by the start of the season, we're releasing a merch store on our website. Bunch of cool stuff coming out, including our 2025 Men in Red 97 scarf. So be on the lookout for that. Last year, we only had about 50 scarves to give away. This year, we want to give out at least double that. So keep an eye on social media. Keep an eye on our website for more information. We're going to have some cool merch, including this Coimere Black hoodie, which I know you guys can't see, but it's going to be super fun, super fresh. And that's all I wanted to say. So thanks for listening, guys. Come on, you Men in Red. See you guys next time.